What's up, everybody? Welcome to the American Experiment podcast. We got another version of the Friday Five today, and we mixed it up a little bit. Last time we had Bill hosting this. I informed Bill that I felt he was giving some real toxic male energy. I mean, 3 men in the room. It was a little dull. So we mixed things up. We got Katrin and me representing the females, bringing the female toxic energy, I guess you could say. And Isaac, right here. Thanks for joining us, guys. Yeah,
and I'm identifying as a woman right now, so it's going to be a great show.
Okay, I'll respect that.
Yeah.
I'll respect that.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing that was kind of going on in the news today, I think, was this debate on SROs. It keeps we see more fallout. We did a whole webinar on this issue with Dave Zimmer and a lot of experts, legislators, police chiefs. And that was awesome. So if you want more information on the backstory, go check that out on our website. But one of the most recent things that's happened, we saw Walz came out and said, "Don't worry, guys. I'm working on it. I'm working with the Democrat legislators." And he had, a photo op with a couple of these kind of metro area Democratic legislators, and said, "We're working on it. What we really have here is just a messaging problem. The police, the cops, they're not understanding what we're trying to say." Is that right?
So what's an SRO?
School resource officer.
Oh, okay. I just figured, for the folks at home, maybe they should.
Oh, yes. Sorry, I jumped right
what
in.
The acronym
School
is.
Resource officer.
So these are the cops that are at the school to break up fights and stuff, right? And,
right.
The controversy, to my understanding, is that there's a change in the state law this last session that said you can't use force on kids. Is that's setting the table for it? Am I understanding it correctly?
Well, it's vague. The language change, it made one word change from "or" to "to," and reading it, police chiefs don't know what that means for school personnel, which includes school resource officers, how they can intervene, what they can actually do or not do to break up fights and keep schools and students safe. So there's a call to rewrite the language, clarify it, change it, something, so that school resource officers can still do their job. Nobody's in there choking children and that sort of thing. They're just trying to have a presence to be there if they need to intervene. So that's what the debate is over, and it's just I think it's being very dismissed by the concerns are being dismissed by our governor and by DFL leaders, because you continue to see police departments pulling their resource officers out of schools. Yeah. So they're obviously concerned about something, and that needs to be taken into account.
Well, and the thing about it is, I think the point of this segment is they want to make it look like they're doing something, but they don't actually want to do something, right? It was how many DFLers was it that were in this photo, but they were all kind of in moderate districts, and these are the people who are worried that this could have negative electoral consequences for them.
Right.
So it's let's have a photo op, let's take this picture, but let's not necessarily do anything about it, because honestly, if Walz wanted to do something about it, the people he should be meeting with aren't those people.
Right.
It should be the DFLers in Minneapolis who say, no, we don't want this. We don't need a new session. Whoever signed onto that bill or that letter, basically saying we don't need this.
But it just shows, there's so much disagreement in their party. It's one of those situations where the truth came out. They don't want cops in schools. They don't want our schools to be safer because they don't believe that police are a presence that kids need in schools, right? Which is sad. It's really sad. And there's this disagreement between them that's clear, and Walz doesn't have control of those people. They're radical. What they believe is radical, and he can't control them. And that's what's clear here, and that he's trying to cover up with, it's just a messaging issue.
Well, and how many constituents has he heard from saying
Lots.
We need to have a special session? We have an entire campaign dedicated around that, where constituents can go and say, "Walz, please call a special session. We want this. You need to do this. This is the right thing to do." And he's dismissing all of those voices as well.
And let's move into another topic I wanted to cover, which is what's going on in Minnetonka right now. We saw this horrific carjacking with a mother and her son. If I recall, I think it was even in the morning, 11 a.m., they were bringing in groceries, and a really horrific carjacking happened. And so, a lot of people from Minnetonka showed up at the city council meeting, huge crowds, and they said, we need to do something about this crime. Kind of like people are speaking out on the SRO issue now, and that's all wonderful. But Minnesotans we are the ones who put ourselves in this position, right? These people in Minnetonka, they went for Mary Moriarty. What did you expect to happen here? I think we have to be serious with some of these people about the consequences to the people you vote for. You know, it's nice. I know it feels good to vote for Democrats. I think for a lot of people, they think this feels really nice. They have nice slogans and things like that, people on the left. But look at the consequences. Look what's happening from this. We're obviously seeing a rise in crime. And are the people you're voting for responsible? I think yes, in both of these scenarios.
I mean, there's
Would you
nothing,
like to add
nothing
anything?
else to add, I guess.
Would you like to add anything?
So it's just a fun, your audio is not malfunctioning right now, listeners. It's
an appropriate pause to let it sink in.
We were stunned at how good that rant was.
Oh, thank you.
That's Catherine Hinderaker. Of course, it's such a good point because it's a Hinderaker making it. So
the smarter of the two.
Oh wow!
Just kidding. Cut that out. Can you cut that out?
Oh no, that's staying in. You're getting demoted.
But I just think it's like, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of sick of, and it's mostly women who are in this position too. We see all of these, women, voting in mass, especially younger women, people like me, are voting in mass for liberal policies, and then they're angered by the consequences. It's just so hard to grasp. How do we make people see, okay, look at the policy that the people you're voting for, the policies that are in place. How do we show people this is the result of your action?
Well, I mean, because it's an emotional benefit, right?
Right.
You've
emotional,
already hit on this. It's the same
logical.
with green energy, right? So you have these people that want to vote for these policies because they sound good,
right.
And it's easy to do that as long as you're never confronted with like the logical end conclusion of those policies. But in Minnetonka, people, they screwed around and now they're finding out a little bit. So, and they're not happy about that. So they probably have to find out a lot more in order to actually change the way that they view the world, or act at the ballot box. But that's that's probably the way it's going to go.
Yeah.
I think you're right. It will take those firsthand experiences in order for them to realize, oh, wait a minute, this is not a good policy, or we need to change course on who we're putting in office. And I don't see anything really changing until more people experience it firsthand. Yeah,
and the other thing, I mean, this is kind of another story that came out recently, was the homeless shelter in Eagan. There's like this hotel that the city council voted on to say, do we want to turn this into a homeless shelter, essentially? And they voted it down, which I think is so interesting because it seems like another kind of circumstance where people, they want to vote for things that feel good. They believe in things that feel good. They'll say support mental health, support the homeless, all these different things. But when it's going to impact them, they're a little more hesitant.
Yes.
Sorry, I don't know. I need to think of better questions. This should maybe just be like a rant of me podcast.
This is the Catherine Hinderaker Rants at the World show, starring.
I gotta work on my hosting
Catherine
abilities.
Hinderaker. No, but that's absolutely right. And it's another area where they tend to vote for liberal candidates. And then as soon as it comes time for them to actually deal with some of the consequences firsthand, all of a sudden they don't want it anymore. So we should try to get a light rail line down to Eagan to transport people from the hotel that's been converted into a homeless shelter to where they can go wherever they want. Like, let's just find the bluest areas with in the burbs and like confront them with all of the policies.
Yeah, the light rail is kind of like our, like shipping of the migrants from Texas to New York. You know what I mean? Like, if we just kind of bring the light rail out, that's kind of like our version,
Exactly.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that idea. The other thing, talking about, let's see, men who are a little off kilter. I don't know. What's the word? Short a couple brain cells. Fetterman. They've changed the dress code in the Senate. Relate. They changed the dress code in the Senate, right? Because this man, he wants to wear shorts. He wants to wear his hoodie. Do we think this matters, Catherine? I mean, you're always dressed pretty nice during the day. Do you think it matters if our elected officials are in hoodies?
Absolutely. My husband hates wearing a suit and tie, but he does it when he has to because he shows up for the role that he's fulfilling in that instance, in that scenario. And he does it because it shows a sign of respect for those he's around. And as an elected official, you do so because you are representing your constituents. So I just don't understand why this is such a problem. Hoodies and basketball shorts, you don't show up to a variety of events, meetings, that sort of thing in that type of attire.
Isaac does, but most people know.
It's like
the exception.
Who goes to work dressed like that in any job? Like, that's
exactly.
the crazy thing.
Right. And so it really is mind-blowing to me that we're taking a respected institution like the Senate and even the House, even our legislators in the House can still dress up and dress for the part. So I think that says something when the Senate is lowering its bar before the House.
It's symbolic too, right? Of like this attack on our institutions. I mean, I think really people like Fetterman, they're radical and they want to attack a lot of the great institutions we have. Like in America, I mean, literally the Senate. I think they're going after these institutions as a whole. You've seen this with, like we just talked about, big tech and things like that. And this is just symbolic of that. They want to destroy the best institutions in America. I think that's clear.
Is that the best institution in America, though?
Well, it's foundational to America. It's necessary.
Sure, it's necessary, but I don't know. I don't agree with changing the dress code, but I also don't think that we're necessarily always sending our best to those institutions, right?
That's
so
even more the reason why they need to dress up a little bit to hide their
that's just kind of
lack of qualifications to be there.
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons that I thought Trump was a fun candidate in 2016 was because I thought this man is a total clown and this is a circus, but who hasn't been a total clown in that office for the last 3 terms, right? I thought Bush was bad, I thought Obama was bad, so we're just kind of nominating the clown to the circus that our government has become. So I don't like that this is the logical end result of this, but it's not surprising, right?
Yeah. No, that's probably true. But I just think we see these things deteriorate. I mean, the least we can do is uphold some sort of standard in these institutions we have. Okay, let's go with one last topic. What is going on in Mankato? Katrin, education expert, seems to revolve around our schools. What's going on?
Okay, where do we start? So we had that fight breakout a couple weeks ago. So that played into the SRO issue. And we've had really kind of eyebrow-raising instructional materials surface. That was a couple months ago. And now, allegedly, there was a morality test given to freshmen at Mankato East. I say allegedly, it's still under investigation. The principal did send out communication to families saying that they are looking into, questionable materials that were given to students. But this morality test asked students on a scale of not okay to rate their opinions on different scenarios. And I'm sorry, but some of the questions asked are completely inappropriate for any child to answer. And the organization that put out this test, what are they called? The IDR Labs, even said this content is not meant for children. And then at the end of the test, you get a rating, and it rates whether or not your morality aligns more with conservatives, libertarian, or liberal. And so, I don't know. I'm not sure what the reasoning behind this test was, but very actually sickening, because I think I can read a couple of the questions.
Yeah, let's do it.
Isaac and I are both of kind of a questionable morality, I would say. So we can take the test and we'll see, where we would end up.
Yeah, we are the least reputable members of the American experiment
that's probably
staff.
true.
Oh, goodness. Well, you said it, so we'll leave it there. But it's just mind-boggling that these questions, so there were screenshots of the questions, and I actually went on the IDR Labs website and found it. It's called the Moral Foundations Test, and it answers, it gives you 36 questions that you answer, and I just want to read 2 that really stood out to me as completely inappropriate. Again, to ask of children, these are freshmen, 9th graders, but also to ask of adults. So one of the questions, or I guess it's a statement that students then have to respond to whether or not they think it's okay or not. Using both a condom and the pill, a brother and a sister decide that they want to sleep with each other just once to see what it would be like.
Wait, what?
I am floored. So then the student uses the little
Wait,
arrow.
what did the condom and the pill have to do with this?
Yes.
What? That is-
Right. That's
how
how
does that
it
play?
starts. That makes
What?
it okay. So then a student would toggle. This is completely not okay. Slightly not okay. Middle. A little
I have
bit
further
okay.
questions.
Oh, so many questions. So that was one of the questions. Another one. A man orders a custom-built sex doll designed to look just like his niece. I don't understand. If you have words for this, please share, because this is absolutely baffling to me. Again, this was allegedly given. I hope this isn't true, but my gosh. And to be clear, I did answer these questions, and I was identified as a conservative.
What did you say?
So
What was it?
completely not okay. Just for the record.
Are the liberals coming out as pro-incest?
I mean,
love is love, right?
Love is love.
Holy cow. So, those are just a couple, and they ask just a variety. Again, it's a moral foundations test. Where do you fall on this? Wow. But also, aside from the fact this should never have surfaced in a school, like, what was the class? What was the teacher thinking? Way too many questions.
Who was the teacher? Let's name names.
We don't know.
Oh, okay.
Put them on screen.
It's
right.
under investigation. So
okay.
I wouldn't... we'll just leave it at that.
If you live in Mankato, maybe report back. Like, are your kids in the area running around talking about sex dolls?
Ask questions at the next school board meeting.
Ask questions for
Something's
sure.
in the water.
Yeah. See what school leadership can come up with, because they're looking into it, but this shouldn't have been allowed to happen in the first place.
Wow. On that disturbing note, I also want to have, we have one more thing, okay? And one last piece of news. The greatest event of the season is upon us. It's the fall briefing. We have Matt Taibbi, who just did an episode of the podcast I'm sure you listened to. He's incredible. Released the Twitter files. We have Matt Taibbi at a winery. So, talking politics at a winery. I mean, it's gorgeous. You don't even feel like you're in Minnesota. You're on the lake. We got these nice little appetizers that are paired perfectly with the wine. You'll love it. It's a great event. A little less stuffy than some of the other ones, Very relaxed. Get your tickets now. It's wonderful. October 14th. You can do that on our website. And hopefully we'll get invited back to do another podcast episode. I wouldn't count on it, probably, but it was fun. So thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time, if there is a next time.